Hi, so I'm an engineering student at Louisiana Tech, and during the Engineering 122 course, me and my group created the Smart Bike. And the reason we created this is because 62% of people get sustained injury from overuse and being in the wrong gear. And so we took a bike and made a system where the gears can be automatic instead of manual.
I'm a mechanical engineer at LA Tech, and I'm going to explain to you how this bike operates. So essentially, we have an accelerometer mounted on the bike. This accelerometer gets angle readings through some code we found that converts it to real-time angles. So we began the code off with defining our linear actuators to digital pins on the Arduino. So digital pin 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so on. Then we created two variables. We created history and we created gear. So the history was equal to the total amount of gears on the bike. The gear was kind of like a gear that would change from if statement to if statement. So then we used deadbands to measure the angles. So say we had 20 to 30 degrees, 30 to 45, 40 to 55, and so on. And each deadband, the gear would change down one. So if we entered one deadband, it'd be 8. If it goes in another deadband, the gear would equal 7. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You get the picture. The way we used to actually control the linear actuators to make sure they didn't run more than once was through two if statements. So say if your history was greater than your gear, so say we were in gear 7 and our history is equal to 8, it would realize that it needs to go down a gear and it would execute the gear down function, which we basically made the gear down a user-defined function. And basically, in order to make sure it doesn't run again, it would subtract 1 from the history so it would be equal to 0. Then we did if gear is greater than history, so say we're in gear 7 but the history is equal to 6, it's going to realize that it needs to go up 1 to equal the gears out. So it will execute it, it will go do the gear up user-defined function, and then it will add 1 so that equal 1 doesn't run again. That's essentially how the code works.
So for our circuitry, basically we send 5 volts from the Arduino into the breadboard, and the accelerometer, every time it takes a reading, it sends that voltage to the pin, which goes through the relay, regulating to 12 volts to send to the motor to driver, which then activates the linear actuators to shift the gears.
Davis, and I'm a civil engineering major at Louisiana Tech. And I'm going to explain to you how we mounted our actuators and our Arduino circuitry to our bike. So we mounted our actuators using a mount system that's called the Archon mount system. We pretty much use a system of clamps, ball joints, and arm mounts, which hold the ball joint by friction onto the frame of the bike. And you can easily manipulate them to be in a certain position via these I can't give a good name for them, but these are like levers that kind of tighten them to give us friction to hold it in place. We also use a Tupperware system along with command strips and Velcro type command strips onto the frame of the bike as well as within the system to hold it in place so it doesn't move and give us random readings while in motion.
I explained to you how the code works, but we actually want to see it function in action. So my friend Chance here is going to help us show us that. So if Chance were to lift the bike a little bit, the linear actuator will turn on, like it's doing right now. So that's its first deadband it's entering. That's that first like 0 to 15 degrees it's entering. Now if you were to lift it a little bit more, it would activate that second deadband, like it's doing right now. So this is to simulate going up a hill. If you're going up a hill, you want to go in the lower gears to go up the hill. But say the worst happens when you go to an extremely high angle, like my friend Chance will do right now. Then it will activate a third time to help the user get over that hill. But remember I was talking about how I made that if statement to make sure it doesn't run more than once? Let's see if it runs a 4th time. I didn't think so.